never say they want it. Girls can't never say yeah. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Girls can't never say they want it. Girls can't never say yeah. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Oh nah. Give it to me like you need it, baby. Want you to hear me screaming, have it breathing. I don't need a reason, baby. I want it till you get right. I can get it to you right, baby. I wanna be healing. I can be real good. Please don't get these feelings. Hey, I need some love.
Greetings, royal queens and kings. Thank you so much for coming back to the Queen Tulsa show. On this evening, we will be discussing Ziyah Harris. Is silence golden? The mystery of Ziyah's family. In this compelling YouTube video, we delve into the intriguing perspective of Ziyah's mother, who expresses her reluctance to engage in publicity. Despite her absence from news outlets and podcasts, she emphasizes that this does not equate to a lack of concern for her daughter's situation. The conversation raises questions about the motivations behind her silence and the potential implications for spreading awareness. Join us as we explore whether Queen Tulsa will take on the challenge of uncovering hidden evidence in this complex narrative. Listen here. We have the Queen Tulsa Show affiliate, Dory, who will be joining us on this evening to give her commentary. And remember, all the opinions and the views of our panelists and guests does not reflect the Queen Tulsa Show. Without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, legendary Diamond Dory. You're on mute, sweetheart. Hi, Norris. You're on mute. All right. So while we get our audio together with our co-host this evening, I wanted to speak on this particular case because it did hit our news feed, and this we just not long ago reached a 1 year anniversary of the missing the Ziyah Harris. As we have seen, Jarvis Butts is in custody, also along with his business partner, Cordell Wright. And to say the least, this young lady was failed. And when we think about what's going on, we have our correspondent back in the studio. Dory, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just let me, I got a microphone dysfunction. I'll be right there.
All right. Listen here, you all. It gets a little busy here in the studio, so just bear with us as we bring you the coverage as it comes in. I'm going to give you a backstory on this family. Okay, so there's a guy by the name of Jarvis Butts. Jarvis is an individual that was dating a woman and soon got involved with not only her niece, one of her daughter's friends, allegedly. And there have been alleged reports being made. Family members have come out and spoke about the situation. They said that they've tried everything in their power. They brought the attention to the proper individuals, right? But how did this young lady get lost in the crossfire? Dory, your audio is very bad,
sweetheart. Is it
sweetheart.
really bad still? Wow. Okay, 1 second.
It's a little loud.
Is it really loud? Hold on, let me disconnect.
Yes. All right. So before we continue on, we're going to listen to some audio that's going to be provided by Community Advocate, and this is on their platform. I will also drop this link in the YouTube, and so you all can go and check for yourself, and you can go and listen uninterrupted. without the commentary. Well, our commentary. All right. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring this up. And we're going to start right here at the beginning. Let's go.
And we're gone by 3:10. So she should have been home between 3 and 3:15.
Okay, so let me give you guys a rundown. So pretty much this is a panel of some of Nevaeh's family members. In this particular video right here, you have her great aunt who is in the video, and then you have a cousin who is in the video. Now, what I want you guys to understand, and I really want you to really pay attention, is to all the key signs of when they say that they reported the incidents, what the outcomes were, what the conversations were, who consulted with who. Okay, because all that's going to play a prominent part in this broadcast.
Because the house is right around the corner from the bus stop, not even a 5-minute walk.
Literally.
So again, has anyone figured out the amount of time what was the time frame that
No,
she
from what
actually became missing?
We know they said that she went missing after getting off of the bus. That's all we know. We just learned recently that they didn't realize she was missing until around 6 o'clock.
And that's when was the police called? Did the mother, the guardian notify the police?
No, all the information we received is that they claimed that they went to look for her, but no neighbors on that block. We went and asked when we passed out flyers. The neighbors on that block said they didn't even know a little girl was missing, especially not the little girl from that house because they were familiar with that house.
Right. They were familiar with the house.
Yeah.
Were there any other children, young children, older children in the house that you know of?
Multiple children frequent that household and live in that household. At least, let me see, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. So they're talking about the kids that were living in the house, right? But we also have to still point out the fact that Jarvis Butts is a SO, S offender. He's an S offender. Dory, are you back in the studio with us?
Yes, I'm still here. Can you hear me? How's my mic?
Absolutely. Great. So we're going to listen to a little bit of this content. And like I said, this is some of Jarvis's relatives that he knows. And these are Nevaeh's family members on her Harris side. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen.
7, 8, 9, 10, at least 11 children.
Wow.
Have lived in that house recently. And currently there are 7 that live there and 2 others that may possibly still frequent that household.
One of the things, Lori, if I can interject for a second,
Yes.
one of the questions that is commonly asked in terms of the family, I want to, get through this and go on to some other things, but not only were there a lot of small children in the house, it has become public knowledge in terms of, number one, everybody knows Jarvis Butts, who is been identified as the suspect in this crime, and of course, as of today, has been bound over to trial to face all of those charges and even increased charges. The prosecutor added, or it upgraded, I think it's the better term, a charge today. So we are grateful for that.
Okay, so just right there, just from what we're hearing, Dory, what are your thoughts on the statements and this case in general?
Okay, well, it's a tragedy all the way around. And first, I'm gonna say Happy New Year, everyone, and thank you for having me on your platform. What I wanted, I have a question first. Did one of the young ladies said this is his side of the family, Jarvis's butt side of the family?
Well, I want to say it's a mixture because, he did have children
Mm,
with her aunt.
correct.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
it's the commentary is night and day from her family, in which I'm very disappointed in that entire household, from the mother to the aunt on down. He was a registered SO. He had no business even being around children. That's number one. So, when you're talking about failure, why did they even allow him in the residence around children? It was illegal for him to be around children. What do you think about that?
You know what? My thoughts to that is they were more protecting this guy more than they
Mm-hmm.
were protecting this girl. And I feel like there are some male identified women that are around him, and
Mm-hmm.
they were a disservice to this young lady.
Absolutely. And for the mother at the preliminary it, I saw a video clip. She in the court trial, she painted this, the Black Waltons family, right? Or the Cosbys, right? And they prayed before school, etc. Well, Shannon, who has the 5 kids by this guy Jarvis Butts, right? Um, put a video up, and it was not prayer and on to the to school and the kiss and ride, et cetera, et cetera. She was not the grandmother of the year the way she painted herself. And this,
Absolutely.
yeah, she was cursing the kids out. They didn't have proper clothing on. It was I couldn't believe that after I watched the testimony.
Right. Let's go ahead and give our disclaimer and we can go ahead and get right back into it.
Absolutely.
Under the Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976.
Okay.
One of the questions that I her own children and how she was able to get foster children, and then um, was Jarvis Butts living in the home or not, things like that. If you children and how she was able to get foster children, and then
10, at least 11 children
wow,
have lived in that house recently, and currently there are 7 that live there and 2 others that may possibly still frequent that household.
One of the things, Lori, if I can interject for a second,
Yes.
one of the questions that is commonly asked in terms of the family, I want to, get through this and go on to some other things, but not only were there a lot of small children in the house, um, it has become public knowledge in terms of, number one, everybody knows Jarvis Butts, who is been identified as the suspect in this crime, and of course, as of today, has been bound over to trial to face all of those charges and even increased charges. The prosecutor added, or it upgraded, I think it's the better term, a charge today. So we are grateful for that. But one of the questions that I get a lot in the comments is asking about the grandmother's history in terms of her having her own children and how she was able to get foster children. And then was Jarvis Butts living in the home, not like that? If you guys could clarify for us any, whatever information you can share, because of course this is still an ongoing investigation. So we don't want to say anything that's going to interfere with that process, but anything that you guys can share in terms of the dynamics of the home, as far as the access maybe that Jarvis had to the children. You said how many children were in the house, but again, like I said, with the public already being aware that there was issues with the grandmother, would you either one of you know how she was able to bring in foster children in the home?
You want to answer that, Kiwana, or you want me to answer it?
It don't matter. You can answer.
Lies. She lied. And I'm assuming that foster care didn't do a very good check on her when she was able to even get custody of Ziyah and her brother, as well as not as when she was able to get the other foster children she has cared for, as well as the 2 children that she fostered and has adopted.
And also, I would like to add, we found that she had only made them aware that she had 2 children, and she has more than 2 children. So I don't know if cases were missed from that. I'm not sure, but
she has 7 children, and from what I understand, I have people I know who work in foster care and things like that. They ask you about your children. They want to interview your children, see how your children are, how they turned out, where they life with, what type of upbringing they had. Well, unfortunately, out of her 7 children, the first one ran away at a very young age. The second one, he stayed home to 18 and went to school. Then Ziyah's mother, she has had some difficulties in life and ran away at 13. Then the next child ran away at 16. Then the next child left at 17 or 18. And they just all have been going through some triumphs in their life that we feel they would have never had to go through if they had had better parenting. This is one.
Okay, in that moment right there, it was a lot that had come out. When you talk about the grandmother, when I saw that grandmother go up on that stand, it was like grandma is not telling the truth.
You felt that?
I definitely felt that. Grandma had a lot to hide. And what I feel is grandma is going to be catching some charges. Really, I feel like the family there's going to be charges with some of those family members.
Oh, it's going to be more than that. And let me say this, if I may. Number one, I don't know where the father is, right? Haven't heard that yet, and I haven't really done. I'm still deep diving. I'm day 2 of this. So now, one thing I do know about the foster care system is they're supposed to do in-home follow-ups. So I'm seeing even a civil lawsuit. Okay? So if the grandmother, I do agree with you. She will probably be facing charges, albeit that the detective did say that, he's the only one charged. But this is now
Let's pause right there. Well, if you have enablers like this family member right here, she knew what was up. She had the knowledge. She knew what was going on. But see, it's that silence really golden? Is silence really helping somebody out? Did
Well, you see what happened to Ziyah. What
hold on one
silence?
second. Hold on one second. That silence, was it the reason why this young lady is not even here today? You see what I'm saying? Like it goes that deep.
Yeah.
She knew everything. She could tell you what the law was, but she never once did nothing more than just be it, talk about it and not really do nothing. But what were your thoughts? I'm just over here. This is a touchy subject and trigger warning to everybody. And
Yeah.
we were like sending messages back and forth, like, "Oh my God, I found this, I found that," on this case.
Right.
I'm frustrated. I'm gonna let you take over, child.
Well, Queen Tulsa, what got me was the detectives when they were talking. They said something that was very key. We are in the digital age where cell phones now, okay, will tell you where you are at this point in time, what you text, the pictures you took, et cetera, digital media. So, the outcry from, look at what we're doing right now. Look at what these four women are doing. We're all talking about it. This is not going to go away after the preliminary hearing. I mean, so here's my thing. Silence is never consensus in a situation like this. That family didn't speak because they had skeletons in their own closet. Let's go back to what we said in the beginning. You had a whole Pedialyte, because we can't YouTube, living in the house. They knew around children. Red flag right there. Okay? Also, foster care, like we said, clearly didn't do follow-up. If they did, I'd like to see it. I've yet to see it. And understand that this man, Jarvis, but he was a serial groomer. And you mean it's, and then you also, going back to digital media, you have evidence, because I saw it myself, it's not alleged, of the daughter, Shannon, laughing while this child is missing. Okay? And saying very, very disparaging, disgusting things about a 12, 13-year-old child. And that's her aunt. So let's talk about family.
All right. So we're about to hear from the family and what they have to say. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Reason why my father, like my father and my grandmother tried to help Annette when she was young. And she wasn't receptive to the help that she received. My grandmother and father got her 11 years old. She was pregnant. My grandmother helped her get a HUD home, pay for attorneys to help her get her baby because he ended up becoming a ward of the state because she was so young. And Annette just continued to be promiscuous and things like that. But she was a victim of a lot of trauma herself.
Yeah.
So her children, they have some issues too. Everybody got their problems, but it's to the extreme.
If I may ask, Deborah, I'd like to ask this question. How did the alleged accuser, how did he even come into contact? I'm trying to figure out, how did she get in contact with him? She lived in one residence and he lived in another. What was the connection of the contact?
As far as Ziyah?
Yes.
Her aunt, my niece, her aunt, Shannon, that was her boyfriend, the father of her children. Wherever Shannon was, he was.
Okay. So I guess a lot of the people, I'm getting some people are dinging me on the other end, but they're trying to understand. They thought that the child lived with the aunt.
No, Naziah was living with her grandmother, Annette. But Shannon was always over Annette's house prior to moving back in with her. I think she moved back in maybe August or something of 2023. She was living in a townhome that I let her go live in. She was living in a townhome. It's a Section 8 townhome. I incomed out of it when I graduated from nursing school. I signed it over to her, thinking it would be a stepping stone to help her and her children. And we would keep it in the family, and maybe the next person who needed a stepping stone to go finish school or whatever could use it. Well, Shannon got evicted from that townhome because of her and her shenanigans with Jarvis. So she ended up moving back in with sometime in August of 2020. That's how she got back in the home with it.
Okay, so pretty much what she's saying is the aunt had her own place. She had pretty much given her Section 8 apartment and, trying to give her a decent place so she can raise her kids. Seems like Shannon lives a particular type of lifestyle and there's a lot drama in the relationship. And that was the cause of them being kicked out. So I kind of feel like at that point, first of all, dude, if you done got me and my kids kicked out of my spot and we don't have a roof over our head, yeah, you most definitely have to go. But it seems like being that she had a child with him, which I have nothing, no issues with that. You can still parent and not be together. So miss me on that. Tori, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, I agree with the co-parenting. If he was even worth it, seriously, he has a clear pattern. Here's my serious thoughts. It's a timeline. She said from 2023 to 2024. And that was a timeline, I do believe, of when Naziah was grooming Naziah. Okay, because we're in January 2025. She was last seen was like September, I believe. Don't quote me. My brain is. I'm definitely trying not to be triggered, but it's hard. When she was.
No, I said it's okay. Let's go ahead and take a listen to see what else the family has to say. Maybe some more secrets are going to come out. Who knows?
Pay attention to the timeline.
All right.
The neck. But prior to that, Naziah was with Shannon all the time in her home. And Jarvis was where Shannon was when he was with Shannon and not the others that he was with.
Does anybody know how he was able to stay in the house with minors, being that he had been a sex offender, even imprisoned?
We were told that he was no longer on parole and that he could be around children. But I thought the law was that you can't even live in the vicinity of school. So how is it that you can live in a house with children that are not yours, which it really didn't matter if they was his or not. He violated them. So, but that's what we were told. Most recently, when all this stuff happened, they said that's why.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, Kiwana.
We were told that most recently, and also I was told that upon me calling Protective Services while Shannon was living in Clinton Township, my question to them was just that: why and how is he allowed to be around the children? Because we kept constantly being told that they're not finding any signs of abuse. And so that was one of my questions. Well, there's a pedophile in and out the home, basically living there, on a regular basis. Isn't that enough? And that's what they told me, that it wasn't.
I want to get off into that too, in terms of the CPS cases. I want to cover that. But now I think I remember correctly, and you all correct me if I'm wrong, that there was something, or at some point, Jarvis was not on the registry, sex offender registry. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, when I initially found out that Jarvis was a sex offender, it's almost 12 years ago.
Wow.
And I asked Shannon about it. She didn't tell me. I stumbled over it because of a situation where he had got arrested and had her daughter in his custody at that time. He had the child, and we had to go get the baby because he got arrested. So I was looking him up to see what he got arrested for. Then it popped up his Otis information saying that he was a sex offender and had sexually assaulted a child under the age of 13. And I looked at Shannon and I was like, Shannon, he's a sex offender. Yeah, he said the girl lied. I'm like, it says the girl was 13, and then I did the math on his age. I said he was 24. So it ain't no lie there. Yeah, but you know, he did his time. And I'm like, nah, nope. I was like, you need to leave him alone. Over the course of the years, I would tell her, you need to leave him alone. He was not good to her. He did not treat her well. He did not teach the children well at all. He fathered them. He created them, but he was not a father figure that I would have tried to hang on to for the kids. But anyways, I looked on the sex offender registry and saw that he was not on there. So I called, and that's when they went after him. And eventually, maybe about 6 months later, he had to report. They register him, and he ended up on the sex offender registry.
So he was supposed to be on the registry.
All right. So right there, Dory, I'm going to let you go first, and I'm going to hold off on my thoughts.
Okay. I'm sitting here clutching my pearls. This is insane. So you mean to tell me that the state of Michigan is also allegedly a co-conspirator? Because he was not on the sex offender registry. He had 5 kids. He was in the presence of juveniles under age of 17. The detective stated that he had 2 other priors before Ziyah. Then Shannon knew. The grandmother knew. You mean to tell me 5 kids and you did not know? And, but he did his time. Well, clearly that time did not rehabilitate him. Is that the right way? I'm gonna pause right now because this is upsetting. Okay.
Got it. Definitely I feel you on that, but I just feel like the family were told, oh, he's not on there, he had did his time, and that doesn't apply to him. That right there, that was a red flag. I'm not going to sit up here and not believe this. And like the young lady says, she found this out 12 years ago. So if this was 12 years ago and you knew about it, like I said, it's the complicitness. It's the, yeah, and we hear this all the time. Yeah, that's your uncle, and he may have did what he did. We at the barbecue, just don't go over there by him. But they sound off on all the other issues. If you're gay, you can't even come to the picnic, but they will host Uncle Touchy Feely to come to all of the events. And you better shut up and you better be quiet. And if you go against the grain, then it's a problem. When she said that when Shannon had found out about it, or when she had brought it to Shannon, and Shannon's response was like, well, he's a changed man, and he has served his time, and and the girl lied. That let me know right there that if anybody had come after that, she was going to say that the girl was lying as well. And I feel like Shannon saw something, or Shannon knew something about Ziyah and Jarvis.
Exactly.
She saw something triggered it off. Her intuition, it went off. You're a grown woman. Grown woman.
Great mind thinks alike, because I was saying the same thing. You mean to tell me that neither the grandmother, who knew, neither Shannon, who had 5 children, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5, okay? Her intuition didn't go off as a mother? Oh, he's not going to do it to my child. He's revealed. The girl lied. Okay, so now we're victim shaming. Well, he was found guilty. I mean, to even be accused, okay, it is a red flag. But now he's been I'm sorry, he's been accused, convicted, sentenced, right? And then here let me
So he goes on trial tomorrow, which is on Thursday. Actually, we'll be covering it here. But
no
he goes
for the past the two other ones.
no for this
Right, for
case.
the right. I'm talking about the priors.
Oh no, he's going to trial for Zaniah
Correct.
Harris.
Right.
So this is right here. He's already been charged, and as we can see, he's made it to the registered list per the young lady 12 years ago is when she found out. Hey, Queen Keish, how are you? Queen
Hey,
She says, hello. This case is so sad. Queen Keish also says, how was he cleared to be around his own kids?
that's what his own family asked. And I don't know if you have the ability to quickly Google so we can have a sanity check here, because I'm almost certain as a registered, like she said, you can't even go near schools.
Exactly. And when he had gotten out, he was given the instructions of what to do, right? And this is my
Mhm.
when he went in, what type of classes was he required to do, if any? Did he complete any classes or anything like that? And if so, what were those results? I know that we can't, publicly have those results, but I know for crimes like that, they do have
Mhm.
programs that you have to go through, and you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
to get cleared before you can come back into society, because this is what happens. You become a repeat offender. And so if you don't have the education, the knowledge, and
Mhm.
the support, because hold on one second, I gotta mute us both. Well, when one of us talk, we gotta mute because I think I have a bad echo.
Okay, I'll go mute.
Okay. What I was gonna say is it's gonna be a ongoing support. That's just like an addict going through, rehab and things like that. They come back out. Some of them they reach out to old friends, and that's one of the rules. You cannot go back around those old friends. Those are old habits, and you've already cleansed, you've already detoxed, and if you don't want to relapse, you that's bound to happen if you go backwards. I want to say that not only the justice system failed this young lady, but Department of Human Services, the school, the grandmother, and they stated before that the grandmother had, some generational trauma, and that's why I always tell people go and get the help that you deserve. You deserve it. Like seriously, you deserve it. And why withhold yourself? Queen Keish says he had a bunch of enablers around him, and she says SOs do not change. All right, Dory, what are your thoughts before we get back into the
Yeah,
content?
I mean, you said, we're talking generations of the lack of, I believe in therapy, okay? So, you're talking about generations of just untreated illness, okay? And and what I want to say is you're right in the chat, because he did have enablers around it, and not only enablers, but they actually justified it. And you're right also, Queen Tulsa, as well, when you talk about the school system. Okay. And it seemed to me that the family was doing a whole CYA. And guess who paid the price of this dysfunction and this mental illness? A 12, 13-year-old girl that they still have not found her body. Okay?
All right.
You see where I'm coming from? She didn't know. They wanted, and the family, the Shannon had the nerve to paint her as being fast. So there's another evidence and key point of justification. and enabling. It was never, you don't hear ever saying it's Jarvis's fault. But here's the thing, we're talking about family, right? The sister, did y'all see when the sister testified? She was legit, you could see she was upset.
But listen here, when you sit up here and you know that he was wrong. I mean, I just feel like Jarvis got off on the wrong foot when he left that prison the first time. He felt like he was untouchable. He felt like he was not going to obey by the law. It was going to be his way. You know, he was out there hustling. He was out there doing things that he should not have been doing. When he should have used that experience to educate himself. And like I said, he should have went through those classes so he can be an advocate and help others not make the same mistakes that he is currently doing now. And I'm all for second chances, but it's like when you blow your second chance, it's like, really, who are you fooling? And that's why I always tell people, when it's time to go get the help that you deserve, go and you be honest. Because if you do not be honest, you're going to be another Jarvis. Not saying with his charges or anything like that, but it's a repeat offender. You have to wake up and put on your big girl panties, put on your big boy underwear, and say, listen here, it's time for a change. And I know that I'm going to have to lose some people. I know some people have to lose me. But right now I'm on a journey to better myself. But you got to be dedicated. I could want it for you. As we can see, a lot of his enablers wanted it for him. Jarvis didn't want to come out of this and do better. Jarvis decided that he was going to be a repeat offender and break the law and do things Jarvis way. And look where he's at now. All right. So
Huh?
we'll read this. Did they even report to the CPS? Nothing was done. The family knew since 2022. And I think that's what me and Dory was talking about. Everybody's responsible. You know, and Dory, you brought this up earlier that there would be, you know, that's a lawsuit right there. You know, um, y'all are mandated reporters. I mean, y'all are getting paid. But this is the thing. It's even deeper than that, Dory, and we'll have to create another live
Yeah,
for the rabbit hole of Department of Child Protective Services. And that's not
absolutely.
only in your state, not in just Michigan, that's in Oklahoma as well, because Department of Human Resources or Department of Children's Services is being investigated now as we speak.
And
All
they
right.
should be. And let me say this for you. I don't know if we still have to watch more video to watch, but I want to say something to you and put you in everyone's spirit that's listening. Jarvis was so not rehabilitated that he permanently deleted this young girl not to go back. You see where I'm going with this?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right? Because he hasn't been right. He's not convicted yet, but yeah, allegedly. Great. I agree with that. Allegedly.
Yes. He says he didn't want to take no accountability is why he's unalived her. Absolutely. All right. Well, listen here. If y'all thought that was devastating, let's go ahead and listen to a little bit more of what the family has to say. I'm going to say this right now. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. Let's go.
Registry the whole time.
The whole time. And this was like 12 years ago. But get this, his last report is 2019. He hasn't reported for his sex offender registry since 2019. So he probably wasn't reporting it very often in between those times either.
Yeah.
So you said he fathered some children. So you're saying that in the time frame that he was with your stepsister?
No, he was with my niece Shannon.
Your niece Shannon, that he actually fathered some children in the home or outside the home?
He has 5 children with Shannon. It was almost 6.
Oh, okay. And okay.
Yeah.
There's a question though that popped up as well in the comment section about him having 13 children.
He has more than 13.
I've listened to other podcasts covering the story, and I heard the number 20.
20.
He has more than 20 children.
He has more than 20 children.
He has adult children that are almost the age of Shannon.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
What is she in her early 30s, right?
Shannon's 31, I believe.
Yeah.
Dory, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, wait a minute. Did she say that he has children almost the age of Shannon? And how many kids did she say?
They saying 20, some are saying 13. Child, once you pass 10, it's
right.
a lot.
It's a lot. And you know he was not paying child support, allegedly. He's going to be a whole case study. A whole case study. This is, Queen, I've never been too speechless in my life. And you're right. As mandated reporters, I think we all should be calling the state of Michigan. Because you know what? There's more people just like Jarvis Butts out there. More people.
And you know what? My thing is when that girl did not return home, like, it's okay. I'm waiting, I'm waiting to see if you come home. But no, it's 9, 10 o'clock. No, we calling the police now. They didn't take no action until the next day. It's like, and
If my
then
child doesn't come home at 6 o'clock. See, when I was raised, we didn't let the street lights hit us. Okay, so there was
that's
no
how
way.
it was for us. Make sure you home when them street lights pop on. You need
That
to be
part.
making your way to the house.
I think that was a rule for us, right? I wondered what the chat says. Is it put a 1 in the chat if you're don't let them street lights hit you.
Right. Oh,
and that was on the weekend. You had to be home studying and doing your homework for you didn't think. And your chores be done for you didn't think of going outside. This grandmother got on that stand and act like she was Mother Teresa. And so did Shannon. Oh my God, to protect the life of Jarvis Butts. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Well, Queen of Cash says, if he lasts long in jail, honey, well, get into it. His last name is Butts, honey. So they are definitely
I didn't want to say it.
Okay.
I didn't want to say it.
So he might as well get his butt ready because he's going to be passed around. That could have been somebody's niece, somebody's daughter, somebody's cousin. I know it's very disgusting. It's very disgusting that we are even here again talking about this man, and then now we are to add another layer on top of it. Someone has lost their life. Queen Cash says, grandma didn't need custody. She unfit. She put a 1 in the chat. I couldn't even hang out after school. Exactly.
Right.
Oh.
And you better been doing some extracurricular activities, or you had to stay after the study or something like that. You had a valid reason. But remember, the grandmother got on there talking about, she would call if she wanted to stay after school for various reasons. They prayed before school. There's a whole video of her cursing them out, all of the kids running through, and Shannon was the one recording. She found pleasure in it. And went online while the child was missing, talking about the child. Allegedly, this is my personal opinion, I do not have evidence. My intuition tells me they knew. They knew. But why did not foster care, child services, do follow-ups in the house, interview the children? They're supposed to be trained. Oh, this child was failed by so many people. And you know what? And I'm going to sum it up with this. The grandmother and Shannon and anybody that knew are co-conspirators. They need to be right there next to him and on another trial, okay? And also, I'm going to say this as well, that it took his relative to call to make sure that he was on the list. Not Shannon, not Auntie Shannon, not Grandma. Oh, yeah. his family. And that's a shame.
Yes, Queen Cash says, but my mom would know why I'm not home right after. Absolutely. I just feel like, you know what, in this day and age, of course, times are definitely different from when we grew up. You have social media. I mean, some parents aren't really taking the time to really be there for their children, and they're letting the streets and the internet raise their children, and it's such a sad case, but this is what happens when you drop the ball. I mean, even with her mom, um we got some audio of that, but I won't even play her mom's audio on this one. I think that we'll do that for like a part 2 or 3. But the mom, she just seemed, just disconnected from the situation. She didn't thank nobody for their condolences, or just I don't know, just it's a lot going on with that mom as well. Um
Yeah.
Queen,
You know what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
hold on. Queen Cash says, did y'all know Jarvis was in the basement with Nazaya having S? They knew, they act like they didn't see him.
Right. Did you
What?
see the text messages? Right. That's what she would tell him to go. Exactly. And
We're being
oh,
tried.
get this on top of that. Um, you can tell that he was grooming her, but in some points in those text messages, she seemed a little bit more intelligent than him. She started playing him like, you only want me for one thing, but then also she was aiming to please him. I mean, at that age and being groomed, she was she wasn't mature on top of being groomed. And yes, that's why I said, in my humble opinion, I do think they knew. But if you listen to the testimony, they wanted to be pillars of the community, Mother Teresa's. And then we hear Shannon, oh, he paid his debt to society. No, he didn't.
Listen here, you all, sent all receipts to my email, because I knew when I did like a 3 hour live last night. Some just woke me up. Like, I was trying to go to sleep, but it just kept waking me up. I needed to talk about it. I was on live last night for 3 hours, and I watched that sister. I watched Cordell, which is the gentleman that worked with him, Jarvis, at the mechanic shop. I
Yeah, as
watched
business partner.
I watched all their testimonies, and it made my flesh crawl.
Hmm.
And like, you know what? I can't stop with this. I've never just been in a space where I got to get up. I this is I feel like I said earlier in this broadcast, that I feel like the grandma is gonna be facing some charges. I feel like that sister, it seemed like the only thing that she wanted was her car fixed. She
Mm,
didn't care what was going on.
exactly.
She didn't care
Yeah.
what was going on.
That's and this is the thing that got me, is that when they were sitting there talking, like, when you taught up his business partner, this is what got me, is that I knew he was going to be full of crap as soon as he said he doesn't recognize him because he had the COVID mask on.
Mm.
Did you catch that one?
No. Oh, yeah. When he had the mask on in court.
And they
Um,
asked his business partner, did he recognize Jarvis in the courtroom? He didn't see him, he said. And
right.
they told him to stand up. He still didn't see him. So you see the game they were playing to protect each other. I'm aware the the COVID mask was saying on YouTube, the COVID mask. And so no one in the courtroom has it on but him. You follow me?
Yeah.
And then from there, he doesn't know him. Yeah.
I did open up the call-in line if you all want to call in and maybe sound off and give your opinions. The phone number right there. Let's see, we have one more comment, and then we'll go ahead and play some more of the audio. Um, True is tragic. I'll try to find a video with the text. Okay, cool. I think the business partner helped him hide her. And that's why I said, Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into what the family had to say. Let's go.
And I think his oldest daughter is around the age of 26, 27. He's my age. He's 42.
Yeah, because even the judge said it in her ruling that he had 13 children. And I think it came from that interrogation he did with the detectives. And I guess maybe he only claims 13 of them.
That's his snooky number. He says that all the time.
Oh, yeah. I thought I remembered hearing the number 20. But as far as that is concerned, he has other children with underage girls.
From what I understand,
he already has, right?
Yeah, from what I understand, his older children were all with girls in their teens, and he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
And then along the time.
So listen, my question is, do y'all think the sister that on the stand was acting all innocent? That's my brother. Do y'all think that she knew any of this?
I think she did. I mean, I know she knew his past at minimum. It's his sister. She was visibly angry. Her face, your mouth is clenched when you're angry. Yeah.
This is a lot.
It's a lot. And I'll rewind their testimonies back, but she seemed to have more anger than Shannon and the grandmother.
No, I think that was more of because the cameras were rolling and she wanted to give a show, but she should save those tears. She should have been angry when she saw Ziyah at that gas station getting in and out of her brother's car.
That part, knowing his, I agree. I stand corrected. So true.
You know what I'm saying?
True. Mm-hmm. Yep. Good point.
All right, let's roll.
When Shannon was dating him and they was going back and forth with each other, there was a young lady who was like 18 who said that her child was his. I don't know whatever came along with that, but yeah, possibly she's one of the young ladies that's listed on the front of the court registry.
So do you think, I guess I might, Deborah, please don't let me get ahead of myself, but I have to ask this question. Did Ziyah, did she ever show or talk or say anything to anybody? I mean, hints,
yes, she did.
The world wants to know. I mean, this is a
young
13-year-old child, and from my understanding, this took place a year ago. She did tell.
It all started, my issue, me and Shannon were thick as thieves. I love the children. I would go around.
Okay, so I want to this. No, that's a common way to gesture or make a point. We were thick as thieves. This young lady was a disservice to Shannon, and she was a disservice to those that were around Shannon. This is a nurse. This is a family's nurse. She's related to them. She knew all of this. You are a mandated reporter as a nurse, whether if you're on the job, whether if you're walking down the street. When you rose your right hand and you took that oath, that was for until you left up out of here. But now she's about to give us the story. She's about to break it down. If y'all are still with us, please drop a 7 in the chat. And let's go ahead and get a commercial break. Let's pay the bills and we'll be right back. Thank you all so much for supporting Queen Tulsa, the show, whether it's a like, a share, a subscribe, a Cash App, a PayPal, or a Zelle. Thank you for coming by and watching the show. And this is your commercial for being acknowledged for just being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without you, who would be watching? Thank you for tuning in.
Queen Tulsa, before I drop, I want to say, can you please give the definition of mandated reporter, just so that I want to make sure that's on the broadcast.
Yes. So a mandated reporter, I'll give you my definition, and then we'll go ahead and give you the Webster's definition. But as a mandated reporter, if I see like some, let's say that I'm working on a job and it's like home health care, and I see abuse going on, I can't go over and like I can go over and like try to diffuse the situation, but when time permits, I have to report that. I have to report that to the proper authorities. First of all, make sure the client is safe, and then report to the authorities. That is abuse, and being a mandated reporter is like you have a responsibility um, to report crimes. And if you see something and you didn't report it, and your name comes up in the investigation, and you didn't follow protocol, you could possibly be facing jail time. But the definition of the mandated reporter is a legal requirement to report abuse or neglect of a child or vulnerable adult. Mandated reporters may be individuals or agencies.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much. I'm going to do some further research on that, because I want to know. I want the family to be held accountable. And the last that I saw from the investigators, they asked in the report, but I think that was 3 months ago, that he's the only one being charged. So, well, thank you so much for having me. And yes, it's going to be a part 2, 3, 4, 5, and on, I do believe. But raising awareness. So thank you so much, and thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone in the chat. And you have a lovely night.
You as well, and come back and drop your channel, but let the people know where they can follow you. And thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
All right. So let's go a little bit further in this. I won't keep you too long because I try to keep the broadcast to about an hour, just so the replay gang can come through, watch for an hour. It's kind of like an episode. All right. But let's listen to a little bit of this. Actually, I want to speed up. So the timestamp is 2021. All right, let's go ahead and go from here. We're going to listen to a little bit of this, but then I want to speed up to the timestamp. I believe it was like 123 or 125. There were some important pieces that are going to shock you.
Went to Disney World. We traveled together. Then she called me and told me that it was a birthday, February of 2022, for her second daughter's birthday. And most of the children, pretty much all the children, were at the house, the grandchildren. There was one little girl who was another, Annette's other sister's daughter was there. Now, this child had never been around Jarvis alone before. I think she might have been at the birthday party or something, adult birthday party, but it was at a hall. But she was at Shannon's home, and this young lady was so afraid. Shannon's telling me this. She ran upstairs, frantic and afraid and scared, and wanted to go home and wanted to call her mother because Jarvis touched her inappropriately while she was in the basement playing with the puppy. While this little now Jarvis was on a game, he wasn't thinking about going up there with Shannon or nothing. Shannon says all of a sudden, while she's up there, she's trying to calm this little girl down and talk to her, Jarvis comes and knocks on the door and says, "What's wrong with her?" And I said, "Shannon, why are you calling me? Is he dead or is he in jail?"
Mm-hmm.
No, he left. What do you mean he left? Call police. The know where he's going, what car he's in.
Right.
Well,
So Shannon calls this cousin to tell her all the dirty deeds and kind of what was going on. Like the young lady said, so where is he now? Is he, here or is he there? Oh no, he left. Let me go ahead and enable him. Let me give him the heads up to get out. No accountability there. So that's why I say Shannon really failed. All for a man that just didn't want nothing to do with you. You were upstairs. He was down there playing the game. He went soon as when she was up there talking to her. Oh, then you come to the door. Oh, that was your time to come back and maybe visit again. This is somebody's child that had come over to visit. So this was a friend to the family and a friend to the girl. But the sister that says, this is my brother. When are we going to start holding those that are close to us accountable? We got so many opinions and we can point the finger out here at everybody. When are we going to start doing that in our own homes? Because it starts at home. That's a lot. Oh, legendary Diamond Dory is here, and that's her channel. Yeah, that's her channel right there. You guys get on over and give her a like, a share, a subscribe. She's going to be covering this as well. So we'll not only be here at the Queen Tulsa show, but we'll also be over at the legendary Dory show as well, showing her some support. And that's what it's all about. All right. So let's go ahead and listen to what the cousin had to say. But like I said, I would not be surprised if this judge, the judge that's on this case, she's paying attention to each detail. I think that she's really going to make some noise. I think she's really going to make some noise. She's going to ruffle some feathers. And I just say I'm ready for the trial. All right. Hi, Norris Tony. How are you? You speaking a word, Queen. Yes, they all failed the young lady. All right, let's go.
Well, I'm about to take her home, then I'm going to call my mama. What? So I called her back like maybe 30 minutes later. Like, did you call please? No, my mom said bring the kids home tomorrow morning. She going to talk to them. I'm like, no, y'all talk to them. You need to contact the police. She did not contact the police. Now, this child had never been around Jarvis alone before. I think she might have been at the birthday party or something, adult birthday party, but it was at a hall. But she was at Shannon's home, and this young lady was so afraid. Shannon's telling me this. She ran upstairs, frantic and afraid and scared, and wanted to go home and wanted to call her mother because Jarvis touched her inappropriately while she was in the basement playing with the puppy. While this little group, now Jarvis was on a game. He wasn't thinking about going up there with Shannon or nothing. Shannon says all of a sudden, while she's up there and she's trying to calm this little girl down and talk to her, Jarvis comes and knocks on the door and says, what's wrong with her? And I said, Shannon, why are you calling me? Is he dead or is he in jail?
Mm-hmm.
No, he left. I mean, he left. Call the police. Let them know where he's going, what car he's in.
Right.
Well, I'm about to take her home, then I'm going to call my mama. What? So I called her back like maybe 30 minutes later. Like, did you call the police? No, my mama said bring the kids home tomorrow morning. She going to talk to them. I'm like, no, y'all don't need to talk to them. You need to contact the police. She did not contact the police. I found out later the police were never contacted. The next day when I called Shannon, I talked to her. She said, my mama talked to them and said the kids ended up telling us they lied. They was mad because he wouldn't give them no money. So I called Annette and I said,
are y'all serious? Did y'all just hear what just happened? This lady says she got a phone call from Shannon. Shannon told her all these horrific things. This is a nurse. This is a nurse. And that's why I said, when are we going to start holding our own people accountable? I'm holding this woman accountable because nurse, because she made that very clear. Oh yeah, I went to nursing school. Okay. So thanks for the introduction. Nurse, you had a responsibility, whether you were on a clock or not. If you were on the clock or not. Whether if Shannon called the police or not, you should have called the police and sent them over there. You knew about it. You just as guilty as she is. It'd be different if you didn't know about it. If you just didn't know about it, but you knew about it. Once you know about it, you have to report that, sister. So you failed her. I feel like in that instance, in that moment, had you done that, it would have given you a paper trail of you actually trying to help. But it seemed like you were trying to help Shannon because y'all were thick as thieves. And these are your words. You wanted to help her find a way out of this. You looked at it, oh girl, you'd have been through so much. You don't need this on you. Let me help you. You should have been helping Shannon to a therapist. You should have been helping Shannon to a domestic violence shelter. Let's go.
Annette, are you guys going to call the police? She said, yes, we're handling. I'm going to call the police. So I left it alone. Like, she's going to call the police. Shannon assured me that the police had been called. They were involved. There was an investigation going on. All of this. This was in February 22. Well, in April of 22, I called Shannon in a lie. The police were never called. The children were not receiving counseling. Nothing had happened. So I went to the Clinton Township Police and I told them that I wanted to make a report. They told me I couldn't make a report because I didn't have enough information about the child who actually accused him of the sexual abuse. I said, but the other children also accused him of sexual abuse.
It goes back to what I said in the beginning. When Shannon had called you, right? You should have called the police. If you saw that she wasn't calling the police, you said because y'all talked, 30 minutes had passed, y'all got back on the phone, she still hadn't called the cops. So as a mandated reporter, you were supposed to call the police. Had you called the police, they would have knew who that individual was. Y'all, like, you didn't set up here. You didn't set up here and got information that somebody else has been victimized. So if that person got victimized, don't you think it's still kids over there? Don't you think somebody else is possibly on the rise of getting victimized? And you're a nurse. You said that. You said that. And the grandmother, you a sick, demonic piece of sack of crap. Let's just call it for what it is. You a sack of crap, grandma. You up there lying for them benefits so you can get them food stamps and get those checks from those foster children, because I know the game and how it's ran. You weren't in it to help nobody or to elevate them so they can have a better life. You was elevating your bank accounts. That's a lot, y'all. All right, let's go.
They said, well, they didn't happen that night.
Huh.
And I'm like, she said it would probably be best for you to call CPS. So I called CPS, and I told Shannon I called CPS.
Mhm.
I said, if y'all didn't call, I told you to call the police. I told you to get the kids help. You didn't do it, so I'm calling CPS on not only you, but I'm calling them on your mama too. Because it happens, whatever's happening at your house is most likely happening at your mother's house. They never called. And then that's when Kiwana got involved. I didn't, like my husband knew what was going on. And a few other people who knew Shannon because she had told them stories.
Mhm.
But this is how Kiwana got involved. So I'll let Kiwana tell what happened on her end.
So then I end up going over there to drop off Neziah some clothing. And once I got there, Shannon pulled me to the side and said, I gotta tell you something. And I go, okay, what's going on, cuz? And she said, that Janelle.
Now listen here, I gotta tell you something. Over here gossiping and you gotta tell somebody something, Shannon. You should have been telling it to the police and to the detectives when you found out that that man had violated one of your kids' friends that came over to your house, and their parents trusted you. And see, that's why I'm not really big on my children going out. Like my kids, they don't go to no friends' house, they no sleepovers or nothing like that. No. You can go and you can do your sleepovers when you turn 18 and you're up out of the house. But while you're up under this roof and I'm in charge of you, I'm responsible for you. No, man, baby. I refuse. And see, this is my thing. Whether if that was my generational, if that happened in my family and stuff like that, my goal is to not have my children experience that. I knew how that felt. I knew how that felt. I'm not about to put my kids through it and let me find out that something happened to them. And I'm like, I already told my therapist. Let somebody play with me about mine. And I mean that. I mean that. That'll be today. Okay. All right, let's get into it. I want to go to this timestamp right here. What was she even talking about, child? Hold on. Oh, okay. So this is Kiwana. So Kiwana is about to tell, give her little two piece. This is uh Neziah's cousin. So this is her big cousin, and let's just listen to what she's about to say. And then I want to speed it up a little bit because, like I said, the timestamp is like an hour and 25-minute mark. But this video right here, this is 2 hours and 31 minutes and 42 seconds. I did put the link in the chat so you all can go over and watch it through without my commentary. You'll be able to watch it just through. And make sure when you go over there, make sure you give her a subscribe and type in the chat, Queen Tulsa sent me. All right, let's go.
That Janelle and called protective services on me and lied and said that Jarvis was doing something to the kids. I said, what do you mean she called protective services to say Jarvis was doing something to the kids? How would that come about? So that's when she went to tell me, it was a party, and she explained that what happened at the party, and that they end up questioning children and her daughter along with Neziah, along with my other little cousin, which I've never met, had expressed to her that Jarvis offered them monies to do things inappropriately. She said, however, she found later on that her daughter was lying. And I said, Shannon, kids don't lie about stuff like that. But a child not gonna come and tell that something like that happened and just be lying. You need to further investigate. No, that Janelle just trying to start some stuff. I said, no, I don't feel like she trying to start no stuff. I feel like she care and concerned about what's going on in the household as far as the children. This is outside of you and her relationship. This is about looking like.
Now listen here, Shannon was not going to let anybody come in between her and her man. Nope. You're not about to tell her nothing about her man. You're not about to separate her from her man. And what her man's saying is the truth. You can have court documents in front of her. She's gonna stick beside him. This is kind of like the modern day Precious, but with more family members. Because we only just saw Monique and Precious. And then the dad. But now this is like a saga. They're seeing that these people knew what was going on this whole time. Don't get upset with us, the people, because we're reporting on it. I think the public, man. Y'all could have did better, y'all. Y'all could have did better. I feel like if y'all had got a hold to it when it was first going on, I think that girl would still be here. Let's go.
Out for the children. And so we began to go back and forth. And I became what she like to call it, the op, being as though now I'm taking up for the kids. So I contacted Janelle and said, what's going on? Because we hadn't talked for a little while. And I said, explain to her what I had heard and what Shannon had said. And she told me what happened and what transpired. So that's when I called Protective Services.
Could you tell me the length of time it was before either one of you called? Because it seemed like it was a long stretch before
the initial
and Child Protective Services.
All right, let's get into it. So Janelle, which is the nurse, is she in her scrubs? Y'all, is Janelle in her scrubs right now? Janelle is in her scrubs. Hold on. Let's see if she's going to be. She's in her scrubs.
It was the initial incident happened in February of 2022. I was told that the authorities were involved.
Okay. I don't know. I think that's a shirt. Oh, but listen, in the back, look right here. Nurse superhero. Whose superhero are you, nurse? Look. Y'all look at this. Somebody come take a look at this. Somebody come take a look at this. Somebody come and take a look at this. Hold on, let me give her the solo shot. Nurse superhero in the back. That's the sign. Child, I am thrown off. All right, let's go.
When I found out that the authorities were not involved, Shannon was lying to me.
22 or 24?
22.
22.
Whoa. Okay.
So in April of 22, I figured out another incident happened where a child was doing some sexually inappropriate things. And I said, well, what's going on with the case? And isn't she in counseling? And You need to go to the police and take the phone. She sending pictures to somebody on Instagram. She had told somebody else. She tell people this stuff like it's nothing, like it's the normal everyday thing. She told somebody who wasn't even related her to this story, and they called me to tell me what she said, and then I called her to ask her about it.
So at that point right there, you didn't think that this woman don't even care enough about the victim and being victimized. She'd rather sit here and, go around, tell people the story like, she's telling them about this great movie that she watched. And it was so enjoying. And she wanted a round of applause for it. She wanted to be in the right. Or what was it that she wanted? And see, this is starting to make me think, with Shannon, what type of trauma have Shannon been through? Because I don't know. It's a lot. But we're gonna pause it right here. We're gonna leave off at the timestamp 27 minutes and 10 seconds. If you all want to go over and watch the full interview conversation with the family members, I did drop that link into the chat. And so I want to thank you all so much, and we'll be back here shortly. So long.